What if I tell you that I just completed a solo legendary mission with the best striker DPS builds, in my opinion, that is in the game as of right now? Now, before I show you guys this build, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Now, even though this build, eventually I would get to it because I already had the chest piece that's gonna be essential on this build. I already had it on another build for my legendaries. This person came on my comments and actually kind of reminded me or gave me the idea to go for this build. So I cannot pronounce the name, but I'm gonna put this on the screen right now. This is where the idea came from, and so I gotta give credit where credit is due. Now, going back to the build, so this build, it's honestly the highest DPS I've seen on a striker build, right? You can hit around 1 million damage though and still have 1035 RPM. Now, with these new changes to the striker, it made this striker build so much fun to use. Everybody's been trying different ways, and I had to go for a solo legendary striker build, and I finally got it. The change for the striker was so good. Now everybody wants to use the striker, and I cannot blame you. So if you want to try one of the best DPS, I recommend you checking this build and let me know what you guys think of it once you try it, because you can hit pretty hard. Now, this build has some limitations. It's not going to be for everybody because there is a specific way that you have to play for it to work. But if you are comfortable and you can keep up with how the build is supposed to be played, you will be able to shred your enemies. Now, this build also has different places where it works the best. For example, if I go play with this build on the open worlds, just farming activities, I don't think that would be the best, even though it would shred the enemies, but it wouldn't be as much as comfortable as playing with this build on a mission, right? Because on the missions you have spots that you can stay with this build and kind of use the build to your advantage. On the open world, you need to move around. You are limited to your vision because you're gonna understand that with this scope you have to always be scoped in for the talent that you have in the chest piece to work. So that's where the limitation of this build comes in. Now, starting off the build, the specialization that we're going to be using is the gunner. One of my most used specialization because it's really good, right? So what we're looking for on this gunner, we can use this right here. It comes in handy. Every third reload is 50% faster. Also, we have this in here. Killing enemies grants 10% armor on kill. That kind of helps me get my armor back. And last but not least, we have the barrage, which rate of fire is increased by 5% on kills for 5 seconds. So instead of actually 1035 RPM, we're gonna have most of the time way over that, and with the amount of damage that we have, we're gonna be shredding the enemies so fast. Now, speaking of shredding, right, let's talk about what's making this happen, right? The start of the show, the main weapon of this build is gonna be the FAMAS. Now, there is a couple reasons for this that I'm using the FAMAS, but let's go over it, right? The main reason, it has really high RPM with a good damage, where combining those, it does have one of the highest DPS in the game, right? On this build with the striker, we're gonna have 1035 RPM, but that's before we get the buff from the gunner. Remember, we're gonna get a 5% on top of that after getting a kill, so that's gonna go a little bit higher on the RPM. The base damage of the FAMAS is 44.2. The magazine is going to be 50 after you equip that plus 20 rounds. The core attribute, of course, is going to be assault rifle damage, health damage. And the attribute, I always recommend going with damage to target out of cover. Now, the second reason, as I said, why I'm using the FAMAS is because the talent Insync. Now, Insync is a really strong talent for damage, right? But there is two reasons I'm using it, right? Not only the first reason, it's because, well, it will give us more damage to our weapon, but also it will give us damage to our skill, because I'm gonna be using my turret. The turret is gonna be actually helping me kill also the enemies, not only killing, also is gonna be like a distraction, right? With the Insync, you get 15% skill damage and then a 15% weapon damage. When you have both combined or both active, you get 30% for the build when you have both activated. Going over the mods, this is important, right? As you see right now on the scope, we have the CQBSS scope, or the 8 times scope. This one is very important because for the talent that we have on the chest piece, you need to have a scope of 8 times or higher equipped and activated for the talent to be working, right? So anything lower than that is not gonna be working. Moving on, for the underbarrel, we have the laser pointer for the 5% critical chance. For the muzzle, we have the 5% critical chance in here, and then as I said, we have on the magazine a plus 20 rounds. Now let's talk about the chest piece, right? Because the chest piece is very important on this build. It's where the flavor and the extra damage is coming for this build. This is what's allowing us to hit that 1 million, right? So with that scope that I just told you, that's what's gonna activate this talent right here, focused. As you see right now, it's red because it's not working. For it to work, requires a scope with 8 times magnification or higher. So when we are scoping, this talent will activate, it will start going up by increments of 5% until it reaches up to 50% damage. And this damage is gonna allow us to do that amount of damage with our AR so fast, and you know, just shred the enemies. So this focus talent, I'm gonna have it on this chest piece of Ferris Group AB. I have one of these equipped because it will give you a 10% assault rifle damage, which is the main weapon of our build. The core attribute, of course, weapon damage. Then attributes gonna be critical hit damage, critical hit chance. Now moving for the backpack, we are gonna be using the exotic Memento backpack, one of the best backpacks in the game that I love a lot. You guys can see I use it a lot in many of my builds because it's really good. So on this Memento backpack, the talent though is perfect, right? So long story short, you kill enemies, you get trophies dropped on the floor. By picking up these trophies, right, you get a maximum stack of 30. So that 30 is gonna mean a 30% weapon damage, a 30% skill efficiency, and a 3% armor regeneration for 300 seconds, or meaning 5 minutes, once you have all of those 30 maximum stacks pick up from the floor, right? But I know a lot of you guys, especially if you're new, you don't have one, so I'm gonna give you another alternative. For example, we have this one right here, which is the Grupo Sombra, all red, weapon damage, critical chance, with the talent Vigilance. Increase total weapon damage by 25%, taking damage, disable this buff for 4 seconds. The Memento will give me a 30% weapon damage, Vigilance will give you 25%. They're really close. Vigilance is gonna stay active most of the time, but you're gonna lose it once you take some damage, right? The Memento, on the other case, you will have it activated all the way anytime after you get those 30 stacks. So you just need to get those 30 stacks first, and then you have it for 5 minutes. So it's up to you guys if you guys have both, but I would prefer going with the Memento. Now the rest of the build is gonna be all striker, right? Obviously, right? As you see, I'm not using either the backpack or the chest piece of the striker, right? Because I have those two right there. That's gonna work even better. For the pieces that I have for striker, they're all gonna be weapon damage with the attribute critical hit damage. The gloves, the knee pads, the holster. The only thing the mask is gonna have is some critical chance in there to make me get close to that 60%, right? So on this weapon as effect, I have on my FAMAS 44% critical chance and 105% critical hit damage, with 105 also headshot damage. For the skills, very important, this is the best 2 skills to use as my experience on solo. So the assault turret, one of the best out there, because once you throw it out there, right, it's gonna do few things. 1, it's gonna take the attention from the enemies towards the turret. 2, will do some damage to your enemies, right? So it will help you kill. And 3, sometimes once they have those explosive drones, if you have your turret out there, most of the times those explosive drones will kind of focus on the turret first, which is gonna help you not taking that explosive damage from those drones, because they can be quite annoying. So the second skill is going to be the Crusader Ballistic Shield. Not only for being a shield, this one is actually important, especially for scoping, because if you guys notice, if you have the shield and you scoping your weapon, you're gonna notice that your scope is gonna give you more peripheral vision out of your coverage, because on cover, you're gonna be not showing up, right? But once you scope in, even though you are in cover, the enemies can't see you, but you can see them. And that's it, guys. That's the whole build that I have for you guys. One of the highest DPS for Striker in the game, if not the highest DPS. I think it's gonna be the highest Striker DPS in the game as of right now, right? Because of that talent focus on the chest piece, you're gonna get that 50% weapon damage from the chest piece, a 30% from the backpack, and then the 25% from the gear set itself working. It's gonna give you so much damage. Hitting with a FAMAS with over 1000 RPM, hitting for around 1 million damage. Let me know what you guys think of this build. Let me know in the comment section below your ideas of builds, so I can take a look at them and maybe, you know, feature one of your builds on the video and give you guys a shout out. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Happy holidays, have a safe holiday, have a good one with your family. Wish you guys the best, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.